Hello everyone, my name is Star, and today I will be reacting to r/AmITheAsshole, and I'm going to be reading some AmITheAsshole stories. So let's see, which one should we do? Let's see. Am I the asshole for walking on ahead of my friend at the airport? Okay, let's see what this one's all about. Hold on, let me zoom in so that I can read it better. There we go. Sorry, I recently went on a trip with my friend. I noticed something was up, but every time I asked if she was okay, she said it was fine, then returned to her phone. She kept bailing on our shared plans, and I would end up doing them on my own. When it came time to board the flight, she boarded early as she uses a cane. She refuses my help with bags and barely speaks 20 words to me over the full 10-hour period. When we land, I take her carry-on, I almost said crayon on accident, carry-on out of the compartment for her, which she then sets in my seat along with her cane and her other bag. As that leaves me in the aisle, I start moving when the rest of the row does, the entire trip. She had been physically showing me around even a few inches because I am... Oh, it says shoving, not showing. Sorry. Because I am in the way. So I'm admittedly paranoid about holding things up to this point. Once I reach the end of the ramp, I stop and wait for her. When she comes out, she's livid. She says I'm an asshole for boarding with her, but then not wanting for her to leave the plane. I had legitimately thought she was just behind me. When I told her and I said it hadn't been my intention to leave her behind, honestly, I'm more taken aback at the point as she had frequently walked on without me and was now openly mocking the way I was always following her, yet not this time. I tried to talk about it, but she told me to be gone from her sight and refused to help me with her luggage. Upon reaching her apartment, she closed herself in her room and still refused to have a conversation with me hours after the fact. Was I wrong to walk ahead? I stopped where the crowd ended, but I really don't know what she wants from me. Okay, so is this person the asshole? No, I don't think so, because the person they were with did not ask them to do anything that specific, and they can't expect everyone to accommodate them unless they advocate for themselves. So no, I don't think they're the asshole. I've been in situations like that I get the OP's friend for being livid for being left behind, because as someone who is a cane user, I hate it when people leave me behind and don't try to help me. But at the same time, OP can't be expected to accommodate them if they never tell them what they need. You know what I mean? So no, I don't think they're the asshole. I think they were just oblivious, to be honest. Alright, let's read 2 or 3 of the comments. Not the asshole, and your quote-unquote friend seems awful. Saying that she's fine when she's obviously not is immature and shows poor communication skills. If you did something to upset her, fine, but that needs to be communicated so it can be rectified. If you didn't do anything, why is she taking it out on you? That's not your friend love. Honestly, I agree with this comment. I get being frustrated, as someone with a disability. I totally get it. However, you can't be an asshole because someone doesn't know your needs. So, yeah, that's my stance on it. I don't think OP is the asshole. To be honest, I really don't. They don't seem like a malicious person. I'm sorry, but it sounds like she just doesn't like you. You shouldn't have to chase after friendships to beg them to treat you like someone they care about. She's already checked out of the friendship. I think you should cut your losses and find friends who want you to be happy. It makes them happy too. Me and my friend don't care if we're sitting together. Plenty of time spent together on a trip. Most fights are just going to be phone, book, music anyway. Friend sounds absolutely exhausting. I'm going to withhold judgment because I feel like there's a ton of missing reasons here that aren't in the story itself. Namely, how long she's been in this mood, how your friendship has been since you met her, and reasons why she was essentially fuming the entire trip to such a point where she didn't feel comfortable being around you except during times when she seemed to want your assistance. I'm going on the assumption here that because she uses a cane. Being alone was a vulnerable moment for her despite her mood at the time. Based on what you wrote here, you'd be not the asshole, but unless you addressed a lot of the unwritten content here, it could be anything from not the asshole to ESH to you're the asshole. I don't know what ESH means. We have known each other. Oh, this is OP's response to this comment. We have known each other for several years, but we don't often get to see each other in person. Her mood fluctuates and always has. But I had thought at first that maybe she was in pain. I kept trying to check in and offer to switch things up if they were too much. Admittedly, our interests have diverged in recent years. Before we ever left, I had asked if it would be okay to go to a certain chain of stores and an exhibit based on a series I like. She didn't want to go to the exhibit, so she planned a different day trip. Well, I went and did that on my own. The stores she chose not to go in, which was fine. I did offer to skip them. I keep trying to ask about things she wanted to do, but I honestly think that it would do more harm than good to check on that frequently, and it may have been annoying her. She was far more interested in the food, and I don't have much of an appetite. I said I would still go with her, even if I didn't want to eat much, and usually she would just leave me at the hotel room and go on her own. I knew something was off, but based on information she would give me, I didn't know how to fix it. I did overhear her telling her friends on voice chat that she was sick of this series I was visiting stores for. But other than doing it alone, which I did offer, I am not sure what else I could have done. Wow, that is... Now I'm kind of torn if OP's the asshole or not, because I'm seeing a lot of the comments and I agree with a lot of them, especially in regards to helping disabled people, but at the same time, you can't really expect people to know what exactly you need unless you tell them, because every disability is so different. Everyone's experience is different. So I was gonna say not the asshole about OP, but now I'm starting to have second thoughts. Maybe the friend also has mental health problems, because it definitely sounds like she does. Let's go to another post. Oh, this. Okay, let's read the next one. Alright, here's the next one. Am I the asshole for punishing my stepson in response to his claim he has multiple personalities? Oh boy, is it someone who actually has a DID or someone who's faking DID? Because I know in 2020 a lot of people were faking DID. Which sucks, because I think 2 people who possibly have DID. I mean, I've had people's alters appear and talk to me before. I don't know why, but every time I meet a system, their alters open up to me really, really quickly, unusually fast for a system, from what I've researched. So I don't really know why that happens to me a lot, but I'm not complaining, I could be friends with alters, that's fine. At the end of the day, DID is a disorder that basically your brain is like a broken plate. Like there's many pieces, but all together makes a plate. Just like alters are basically fragments of the person. So instead of becoming one sense of self, it's like multiple senses of self and multiple identities. Like it's not just a personality, it is identity, like consciousness. Like I highly recommend you guys researching DID because it's actually really interesting to learn about. So, am I the asshole for punishing my stepson in response to his claims he has multiple personalities? Background: I, 39 male, have a 17-year-old son. His father passed when he was 6 in his life, and I've been in his life since he was 8. A few months ago, he came to a family dinner, started talking in this funny nasal voice. We laughed, thinking he was joking about it, but he got upset, saying we weren't accepting him. This was the first time he claimed he had a multiple personality disorder. By the way, just so people watching this know, multiple personality disorders are no longer the diagnostic name for having multiple identities. It's either there's like 3 disorders, I think, that could cause alters to form, which is dissociative identity disorder, otherwise specified dissociative disorder, and I believe in really rare cases, some people with BPD can have one other alter. It's usually only 1 or 2, but I've met people who were just diagnosed with BPD that had like 1 other alter. But feel free to correct me. I don't want to accidentally spread misinformation about that kind of thing. So yeah. This was the first he claimed he had a multiple personality disorder. Short story, my wife and I absolutely don't believe him. We talked to his therapist. He had been seeing one since his father's death, and the therapist knew nothing about this, but doubled the claim. My stepson went then asked to go to 2 different psychologists who said they disagree with his claim. My stepson then started refusing to go to therapy unless we find him a therapist who agrees with his claim. Looking into it, we found that he started following all these multiple personality DID influencers a few weeks before he started claiming he had it. My sister-in-law supports this, and we decided to ignore it, hoping it was some weird phase. Over the past months, he has really started weaponizing his self-diagnosis. He skips chores, saying it was a different personality, has started vaping and gets mad when we punish him, as he claims it was a different personality. He has been suffering in school and skipped some classes, all of which he blamed on the other personalities. My wife and I pushed back, and he completely denies responsibilities. He and some friends are planning a road trip this summer. When he mentioned it, I said he wasn't allowed to go. If he truly is unaware of his action, he claims there's no way it's safe. He responds saying he would be an adult, but I pointed out that if he's dealing with this mental illness, we could and should put him under legal protection. He is really unhappy about this, but it seems logical to me. I told him to regain trust. I'd want him to delete his social media, have his online access monitor, go to some intensive therapy, drug testing, and start taking responsibility at home and school with guidelines. My wife thinks I'm going far. My in-laws believe his self-diagnosis and say I'm harming him. So am I the asshole for restricting the things my stepson is allowed to do because he of his claimed mental illness? Honestly, I'm torn about this one because there's like so much information that's not really said. Like, what was the environment that OP's stepson grew up in? Obviously, like, his mother died, so that's a traumatic event, especially for like a young kid to go through. Like, a kid's not gonna understand why their mom died. They'll just be like, mommy's dead, I'll never see mommy again, is probably what they're thinking. So I honestly don't know if OP's the asshole. Maybe he's faking, maybe he's not. I don't really know. There isn't much information. But at the same time, I feel like he's not the asshole because, like, even if the son did have the ID, that doesn't excuse the like stuff he's doing. Like, his actions are bad. So let's look at some of the comments. Not the asshole. He can't have it both ways. Being powerless to the disorder when it suits him and being in total control when he wants to go on a trip with friends. It's more than fair to call this out. And another person said this. Is absolutely using his multiple personalities as a get-out-jail-free card. OP, don't play into these games with the kid or in your in-laws. It will just make things worse. Take the kid to another therapist to see if he gets a diagnosis. If not, then it's because he doesn't have multiple personalities and he needs to cut that crap to deal with his real issues. Doctor shopping should not be an option. Doctor shopping should not be an option. This next person said, well, I agree that you can go from one to the next hoping to get the diagnosis you want, but not all therapists are compatible with all patients. And another person said, doctor shopping is finding a medical practitioner that will say that what you want to hear and what you want. It's a difference to finding a practitioner you get with. I think they mean get along with. This is really important still. Doesn't mean they're going to say / do what you want. Yeah, I think OP is taking it a little far with like threatening to essentially put him under a conservatorship. But at the same time, I also don't feel like OP's the asshole because it's obvious that he's just either faking having multiple alters, or he does have multiple alters and he's not taking responsibility for his system's actions. Because at the end of the day, if you're a system, you're still responsible for your actions. So I don't think OP is the asshole. Alright, I will read one more story and then I will give my opinion about this one too. Am I the asshole for kicking out my brother after he threw a party in my house? I love how the word my is like capitalized. House without my permission, completely trashing the place. About 2 nights ago, I received a call from my neighbors explaining that there are multiple cars outside my house and loud music coming from inside. I immediately asked my neighbors to knock on the door and ask what's going on. He was told that it was a party. I was on night out with my girlfriend and was absolutely furious as we had previously made it clear no parties unless I give him permission. Little backstory, my brother broke up with his girlfriend who he was living with, and we gave him a room in my house until he saved up money from his job to find a place. We absolutely had some basic rules, like he had to clean and help throughout the house. Anyway, I thanked my neighbor for notifying me and instantly went home. When I arrived, the music was still loud and I entered a dirty house with glasses and a bunch of drunk men and women. I immediately found him and shut it all down. Once everybody had it cleared out, we had a massive argument and I ended up kicking him out for the night. The living room was completely trashed with one of the glasses shattered all over the floor and spilled alcohol everywhere. The next day my brother called me and we had an argument, him calling me an ignorant asshole and insulting me. Am I the asshole for kicking him out in the middle of the night? No, I don't think OP's the asshole, because he specifically told his brother to not do that, and he did it. And not only did he do that, he didn't even have the decency to clean up the broken fucking glass after he went to that party. So no, OP, you are definitely not the asshole. If anything, I think you're 100% justified in this case. Because that is a boundary you set, and your brother clearly did not respect that boundary. So, yeah. No, I don't think OP's the asshole. Let's see the comments' opinions. Not the asshole. Congrats on his ex for breaking up with him, though. She dodged a bullet. Honestly, I agree with that comment. And another person said, I agree, even if he's my brother. Honestly, me too. I would not give a shit if it was my siblings. I would kick them out if they did anything like that. One person said, sometimes they need to learn the hard way. Ask my brother about it. Oh my god, no. Her brother. Wait, is that a girl? No, it's a guy. I thought it was a female avatar for a second. Yeah. Your brother is a real sweet talker, XD. You're definitely not the asshole. Hope he doesn't pull any squatter BS on you. Honestly, I agree. One person did this. He doesn't sound like much of a catch. I agree. I think his ex, like, definitely dodged a bullet. So, OP, no, you're not the asshole. Like, you're 100% justified. But anyway, guys, that's it for today's video. My name is Star. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys later. Bye.